Now, here's the deal. When you do these workouts, you have lactate. Lactate is a byproduct of anaerobic work. So when you do the work to improve your neuromuscular system, you're also adding some lactate into the system. Think about this for a second. If you go run a 150, if you go run some 200s really fast, aren't you going to feel a little bit weird after that? Right, you're going to have a little bit of lactate. Even if you run 100 meters, if you run 100 meters all out, and let's say you do that 6 or 7 times, even if that isn't as hard as running 10 400s all out, you're still going to feel a little something. So lactate is that byproduct that the anaerobic system kind of kicks out when you're doing speed workouts. And so think of this. Speed work basically squirts lactate into the system. You need to learn to deal with a certain amount of lactate to run your fastest. So here's the image to remember that. Okay? A turkey baster. Okay? Because it squirts lactate in. Can you remember that? You got your computer, you got your wires, and you got your turkey baster. Okay? So you're just squirting in a little amount of lactate. Now I gotta admit, I hate the term speed work, but and the reason I hate the term speed work is I think it means something different to everybody. So read that for a second. Okay, are any of these right? Are they all right? Somebody be brave and raise your hand. Is it David?
Yeah. I say speed work's not usually the workout you puke.
Why not?
Because it's really fast and you get longer breaks.
It's really fast, you get longer breaks. But some people puke after
I guess it depends on what shape you're in.
Okay, that's a good point. That's a great point. Well, what about the last point, David? Would Usain Bolt and Alan Webb agree on a definition of speed work?
Yeah.
Why not?
Because Usain Bolt is more of a really short.
Like how short?
Like 100 meters at max.
Yep.
Where Alan Webb, it could be 800 meters for speed work.
Exactly. Now that's why I hate the term speed work, because it's not very, you can't really define it. Do you have socks?
Yeah. Kevin got some for me.
Oh, Kevin got 2 pairs. Okay, so you guys are taken care of. You guys can even trade them. Yeah. Trade your socks. Okay, so is it only workouts faster than race pace? That's actually my favorite definition of the ones up there. If you say any work at race pace, I mean race pace for 5,000 meters, that's not that fast, right? And even race pace for 3,200 meters. I mean, think about that. The pace you're supposed to be able to run for 8 laps really isn't very fast. So speed work, here's my definition for speed work for high school students. Speed work in the high school setting is any workout run at race pace or faster that squirts the appropriate amount of lactate into the system for that time of year. Should you be doing strides right now? Everybody raise their hand. I'm helping you with this answer. Yes, you should be doing strides this time of year. Okay? On Saturday, you'll have an opportunity on the grass field, on Farron Field. We'll go out there and you can do some strides. But the bottom line is, should these strides be as fast this time of year as later in the year? No. And as the year progresses, you should have some sort of workout, some secondary workouts that squirt a little bit of lactate into the system so that your body learns to deal with lactate. This is graphic, but has anybody ever puked after a workout? Raise your hand.
A what race?
After a workout, or a race. Okay, yes sir, in the black.
Yes.
Where? Where was it?
By the track.
By the track.
Yes.
And it was gross, right?
It was gross.
What type of workout?
Thousands.
Thousands. How many?
5 sets.
5 sets, and you were just going as hard as you could, okay? But that's the thing. I would say that if you would have done stride, like there's a chance that had you done more strides and more of a, what do I want to say, a progression of strides and more of a planned out way leading up to that workout where you did the thousands, you might not have puked afterwards because you would have learned to deal with that lactate. Now lactate and puking, they don't go together perfectly well, but you know, it's just I'm just trying to highlight like these really hard workouts you're going to do later in the year. They're going to feel a little bit easier if you've done some faster stride leading up to that. And you know, for most high school runners, the lactate issue outweighs the neuromuscular issue, especially if you have your team doing a ton of general strength and the athletes are running some 100s and 150s at like 95 to 98% in practice and in the meets. So yes.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
yeah.
Like I've heard, like in between your 2 mile and your mile, like at track meets, I've heard people like laying up against the wall with their feet in the air to get the lactate out.
Yeah.
Gravity, does that actually work at all?
You know, I think that works a little bit. The heart loves lactate as a substrate. Okay, it'll use lactate as an energy source, and so you're laying on your back, your legs are up, and then you're it's draining out. I mean, I think that makes sense. Also, an ice bath is going to flush that blood back to the heart. But you have to understand this: after a heart, your name that puked after the Kyle. Kyle, have you gotten socks?
Yes.
Kyle, I was really impressed with your how tough you were with your little ear thing yesterday. The guy was bleeding all over and he wasn't complaining about it. I was impressed. Okay, but after Kyle's workout, even though he was puking afterwards, all the lactate that was in his system and then built up, and we can measure this in terms of millimoles of lactate. A millimole is a very small quantity that we could measure. Even in terms of millimoles of lactate, once you get up to that high level, let's say 6 minutes after the workout it's at its highest, you wait 20 minutes later, 30 minutes later, now you're basically back to normal. Okay? So that person at the track meet, laying on your back and putting your legs up is probably helping a little bit, but it's not like you have to do that. Okay? But that's a good question. Yes?
So you do like a few miles of road running, and then you go do some like turns over 200.
Uh-huh.
We're doing strides after the 200, so do we have the same effect after doing 200?
So how fast are these 200s and how fast are the next strides? 30 and is 33 pretty fast? I mean, 33 is pretty fast for you, right? Yeah. So, I wouldn't try and do two types of strides in a workout. I'd pick kind of one pace and maybe work down from there. And for you guys, I like 150s more than 200s, just for the simple reason that from this metabolic standpoint, you're producing enough lactate to get a stimulus, but you're not producing so much lactate that relative to the Hans-Selye curve, it's not going to be an actual workout. You can still, on your easy day, do some 150s and do them pretty fast. It's not going to take too much out of you for the next day. Okay? All right, are there any? Yeah, Jordan.
I always see a lot of people, after they've warmed down and everything, after a race, they'll go straight to walking barefoot on grass.
Okay.
Does that help?
I mean, I think barefoot walking on grass, barefoot running on grass, all that's great to strengthen the lower leg and whatnot, but it wouldn't have an impact on what we're talking about now, in terms of actual dealing with lactate.
No, I mean completely off topic from that.
Oh yeah, that was off topic.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think, there's all kinds of things people are doing to try and feel better after a hard workout. The athletes, when I was coaching professional athletes the last couple of years, they really liked, after their hard workouts, to do about 1.5 miles on that sport turf. That turf where the grass is fake, but it's got ground-up tires underneath. Yes. So it's that really soft, squishy stuff. It just feels so good on your feet. So about 10 laps of the perimeter of a football field, that's about 1.5 miles. And they'd love to do that barefoot. And it definitely was strengthening their foot and their ankle and their lower leg. But these were people that were running anywhere from 80 to 100 miles a week. So if they did that just twice a week, that's only 3% of their running, okay? And so just to go off on another tangent, I think you guys should all be very suspicious of this minimal running, of barefoot running, basically. I don't think you guys should be putting on the Vibram 5 fingers and trying to go out for 10-mile hard runs. Now, I do think a 10-mile hard run, if you're running 40 miles a week, I think you can handle an 8 to 10-mile run that's really up-tempo, but you want to do that in some sort of normal shoe. And there's there's lots of good shoes out there that are less shoe and more of a neutral shoe than maybe what you were buying a couple years ago, or maybe what an older sibling would have had. But I think that this idea of let's have everybody run barefoot and it's the only way to train. You got to understand, these people running barefoot, this is literally how fast they're running. And they talk about their striking on their midfoot and how and they're leaning forward a little bit, or they're running with totally erect posture, and they're just doing such a great job. And I just want to laugh. I mean, they're not running. You know what I'm saying? I haven't seen one group over the 2 camps running slow enough, running a pace that's slow enough that I think would be safe for somebody running barefoot. Okay? Or another way to put it is I've never seen fast people running barefoot. Like you see a lot of people in Boulder, and I live in Denver, but there's a lot of people in Denver too that are running, but none of them are fast who have the barefoot, sock things on. Okay, are there any other questions? Okay, on